everybody, this is Bobby with bobbystamps.blogspot.com. I'm going to show you how to make this cute, simple, quick card. It just does not take any time at all to put the card together. I did change the one up a little bit that we're going to do. You know me, I can never leave well enough alone. So the one we're going to do, I have already embossed the our base. And then I also embossed the blue strip here so you can see the difference. And I think that's the only changes that I've made. I just kind of thought this one was just a little bit plain. So I'll show you here really quick. I used the Softly Falling Textured Impressions folder. And so what I did was I just put in to the top like this the base, so that way I could emboss it. Then when I put in the Dapper Denim piece, I just moved it down. I opened it up, and as you can see, they get smaller. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but the dots get smaller as you go down. So I just laid my piece down where I wanted the dots to not be as much as what they are. I don't know if you guys can see it better that way, but can you see, let me hold it like that, can you see how there's more dots at the top than at the bottom? So that's how I did that. So I've got that already done for us. And then we're going to use the Layering Squares framelits. That's how we get our little squares here out of our Sweet Sugar Plum and then the Designer Series paper. So we'll go ahead and get those cut out first, because that is basically the gist of this card. So we'll bring in the Big Shot. I'm using my magnetic platform, and we're going to cut the Sweet Sugar Plum. Oh, I almost forgot to put my paper on there. So we'll just run this through. Scoot this a little bit towards me so I don't hit the tripod. So we're going to need 3 of these. Look how cute that makes the little details around the side. Can you guys see that? So there's one. Straighten that up a little bit. There's 2, and that's why I have the scrap piece laying here, because we need 3. And that's all for the Sweet Sugar Plum. So we'll lay that out of the way. Then I'm just gonna snip this off really quick. This is what I used, my leftover when I made my original one. And we're going to need 3 of these. So there's 1. And sometimes the Big Shot will make noises like that, and you'll think that you're going to break your platform, your plastic things there, and you're not going to. It might sound that way, but it's perfectly fine. The first couple of times I used it, I was scared to death that I had done something wrong or had broke it or was gonna break it, but it didn't. Okay, so we're gonna need 2 pieces. This is what we're gonna use for our sentiment, Sweet Sugar Plum, and this is cut at, I believe, let me measure it really quick. This is cut at about 1 1/4 by 4, and this one is about 1 1/8 by about 3 1/2. And we're gonna just, what we do is we make the little V cutout is what we're gonna do with that. So we will bring in our sentiments. And I think I forgot to mention, guys, that we're using the Love and Affection stamp set. And we're going to use the one that says, "You are every lovely word I could possibly think of," right there. And we're going to do that in the Dapper Denim. And then also the Designer Series paper is from the Affectionately Yours suite. So that's where I got that from. So we'll just center this on our piece of white cardstock. That is all the stamping we do for this card, guys. How easy can that be? So when I do this, I just go to the center, cut in, and then just go to each outside. And it doesn't have to be perfect, guys, because that's the whole thing of making handmade cards, is no two are ever alike. And then we're just going to do the same to the, you can actually, I like to lay this on there about like that, and then it gives me an idea of where I want to do this one at. And then just hold that there. I'm going to slide that down ever so much. Scissors moved and I feel like I'm in 2nd grade holding them that way. And then just, and that one there, we need to fix. There we go. See how easy that was? So now we can start putting the card together. So we will need some snail. And we are just going to put some snail on our Dapper Denim. And we're just going to lay it towards the bottom. And you don't have to match it all the way completely up at the bottom. If you don't want to, give that a good press. Now I did use dimensionals to pop up the Sweet Sugar Plum. And I only did 2. I kind of like anchored them in like that. And I'll tell you a little trick that I used when I was doing this, because I wanted to kind of get them spaced as the best that I could, was don't take the back of your dimensionals off until you have them where you want them. And I'm going to do it like this because I think it helps the card lay that on there to help hold it down. And then you can kind of eyeball each one where you want them to be. And I think that looks pretty good. And this is exactly how I did it when I was coming up with the design. I just took my time, laid them out. And then peeled off the dimensionals when I knew or had a pretty good idea where I wanted them to be. And we'll go with that right there. I also put dimensionals, and I'm only going to use one right in the center of the DSP. And same thing, you can kind of, which these are, we're just basically putting in the center of the Sweet Sugar Plum. So, and you can use more dimensionals, guys, if you want to. I just thought one was enough. Just put it right there in the center. one of the things I did with this one too was I made these squares a little bit smaller than what I did in my original card, and I'll show you that in just a second. Okay. And then we're going to put some dimensionals on the back of our sentiment. Probably use 3 because it's a little bit longer. And we're just going to put it right in the middle, trying to center everything the best that you can. Then we'll use some snail. You could pop it up with dimensionals too if you wanted to, but I'm just going to put mine on with snail. And then we're going to use the ruched ribbon, the dapper denim. And what I did was I just opened my card up, kind of brought it around. I'm going to make sure that you cut enough, guys, that you have enough to tie a nice bow. You don't want to be fighting with it. And this ribbon is the best, I will tell you now. I am in love with this ribbon. And you can manipulate this ribbon very, very easily. I'm going to tie my knot a little bit better. Then I'm going to hold down on my centerpiece, and then just can't hold too much or you can't pull. And then I just keep pulling both until I get it to the size of the bow that I want. I think I'm going to make this one over here a little bit smaller. Okay, I'm not happy with this bow, so I'm going to start over. Couldn't get those end pieces to lay the way I wanted them to. I think it was the way I came around. And then we're just going to pull it through. And I do kind of like the way that that's going that way. Now I like to angle the ends of my ribbon like that. And I'm going to pull it just a little bit more like that. And there you go, guys. And you could also, I played around with putting like some sequins or something in the middle of the dots, but you can do whatever you want. And you could also, you know, put a piece of I got that twisted in there, I didn't realize that. You could also put a piece of paper, cardstock over that if you didn't want that to be seen. I'm not going to mess with it because I'm going to end up ripping it. But I can fix that later. Now I've got my bow messed up. Okay, there you go. So there you guys go. So this is the one we just did, and this is the difference. This one is the one I originally designed and didn't have embossed. The squares, as you can see, are just a little bit bigger than the one that we just did. So there, that gives you guys two options, however you'd want to do this card. So thanks for stopping by, and make sure that you visit my blog. It's bobbystamps.blogspot.com. If you don't have a demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator. I can put a catalog in the mail if you need one. You can shop 24/7 on my online store. It's bobbystamps.stampinup.net. Thanks, guys. God bless.